This 2014 Games coverage is brought to you by Fringe Sport. Okay, John here from the RX View at the 2014 CrossFit Games, and I'm joined by Kelly Starrett. Kelly, how's the event been for you this year?
Well, I've been. This is how I sum it up. Like Han Solo went into Carbonite, and he came back out, and everyone's a Jedi, right? I mean, like the vendor booths are bigger, it's crazier, the events are insane. Like, oh yeah, speed ladder. Let me just speed clean this 345 pounds. Like, you know, girls are over at squatting 250. It's amazing. The people are more sophisticated. I mean, I'm all in. It's a fan.
And how about yourself? You're here with Mobility Watt, of course.
We're working for CrossFit. We're here to kind of talk about our seminar piece. You know, the Mobility Watt is the expression of that. But you know, what's great is, you know, I have my hands in a lot of pies, supporting the athletes, talking about projects. I mean, this is our trade show, and it's just an extraordinary time. It's like really the one time a year where we sort of get the family together, you know, the crazy uncles and all, and talk it out.
Now, I reviewed your book, the How to Become a Supple Leopard, last year, and I found some great parts of it. I thought was fantastic for my recovery. Just some, Kelly, just some, right? No. But look, I've got a bad back, and I really found a lot of great tips in it. You're releasing a new book called Ready to Run. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, you know, probably people are familiar with that book, Born to Run, which came out and really just kind of promised and talked about the way we need to move correctly. And if you're around our game, you know how to run. The problem is that we were seeing that, you know, running is so technical, and people are still getting injured running, and they shouldn't. You know that. So basically, we try to come up with a blueprint to get people with the tissues ready, the range of motion ready, come up with some standards, and at the same time, sort of, you know, create and solve all the problems about adaptation failures. You know, why did you blow up when you went from a high heel shoe to a flat shoe? You know, why should you walk around barefoot? Why should you wear compression? Your hydration problems are a problem. So we really dove into a lot of the non-technical aspects of running, and it's the first time I think any of this has been put together. It's going to mess people up.
Now, as a person who's writing a book about running, can you tell me some CrossFitters at the Games, or some CrossFitters in general, who have a great running technique? Who are some of the better ones?
Well, you know, you'll see that people who have a formal running background tend to run really well. Bailey's a great example. The guy just, you know, is really efficient. But, you know, the issue is that, you know, there's in the Games, it's one of the running. Like, I'll throw under the bus, but Annie, Tor's daughter, is a terrible runner. Like, she kind of lopes, you know, and it's just horribly inefficient. The problem is, I think, we spend so much time developing all these other skills because we have to, and we sort of, well, I'm aerobically fit enough to run mechanically and well enough, and I don't get injured, you know, and that's like, I kind of round my back when I lift. So the problem is, you know, the technical aspect, which is really done to Brian and Pose and all those guys, you know, but what we're seeing is that, hey, a lot of our athletes don't have full range of motion in their ankles, which means they can't run correctly.
And I suppose, can you tell us where we can buy this book, Ready to Run? When's it out?
Yep, comes out October 21st. And the last thing I would say about it, you can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble set, is that, you know, you may not be a runner. I mean, we look at running kind of classically. If you run 3 times a week, there are 30 million of you in America alone, right? If you run, you know, twice a week, there's 50 million of us. And the problem is that doesn't account for the fact that we run in every skill. You play Frisbee, you run. You know, you play footy, you run. I mean, like, you choose a sport. In fact, running is the skill that links us all together, and we just want people to focus a little bit more in on it.
And finally, Kelly, as a doctor, a trainer, a coach yourself, what do you try to teach to CrossFitters or athletes in general in everyday life?
Well, I think the key takeaway is that, one is that you have the right to be able to take a crack at fixing yourself, and that, you know, you need to bring some consciousness to what's going on. And I think we've seen a wholesale shift where, you know, we're out of the nascent stage where we just need to train hard, just train harder. Oh, you know, just get stronger. And now we're sort of intellectualized about it. You know, I'm just starting my 10th year of CrossFit, and you know, about to start my 11th year of CrossFit, coming up on 10-year anniversary. And what we found is that, like, this is as intellectually a challenge as any other thing. So I mean, like, I don't think you ever get bored.
And the last question I have for you: someone in the game for 10 years or 11 year coming up soon, who is the most proficient and technical sound CrossFitter that you know?
You know, it's interesting is to see, we do a couple things. Rich has moved better and better and better, and I think you can see that in the quality of his patterning. 377 overhead squat, things like that, just how mechanically efficient it is, and it really does aggregate into significant change over the course of 4 or 5 days. What we do is we try to evaluate athletes on their capacity to get better. And for example, Kalipa is a great example of a guy who's worked really, really hard to get more technically proficient, and that shows up in all his lifts and all these things. So what we've seen is if this is a big Fibonacci sequence, trying to come back to that ideal ready state, we're seeing that many of our athletes have gotten really close. I mean, they're just moving beautifully. Amanda Goodman, I'm in love with her.
Well, Kelly, always a pleasure talking to you, mate, and hopefully I'll put a review on Ready to Run on our website soon, the RX Review. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.